Today's lesson is continuing on with factors. Students will use an organized method to find all the pairs of numbers that multiply to a given number. So let's begin. Let's start by reviewing from yesterday. What are whole numbers? A whole number is a number like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So let's together brainstorm ways of multiplying two numbers to get to 12. So what are all the ways that you can think of to get to 12? Well, let's start with 1. So we know that 1 times 12 is going to get us to 12. We know that 2 times 6 will get us to 12. We know that also 3 times 4 will get us to 12. So we can see that the numbers that appear in the products place, so example numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12, all the numbers we're multiplying to get to 12 are known as the factors of 12. So for my question to you is, how can you show that 2 is a factor of 6? So 2 times what gives us 6? Can we multiply 2 by anything to get to 6? Well, yes, the answer is we can multiply 2 times 3 to get to 6. So does this show us another factor of 6 as well? Yes, we also know that 3 is a factor of 6 as well as the number 2. Here's an exercise for you to complete on your whiteboard. I want you to write a multiplication equation that shows 5 is a factor of 10. So for example, to complete this, 5 times what is going to get me to 10. So for B, 5 times what is a factor of 80, and C, 10 times what is a factor of 230. When you're done, you're going to resume the screencast. Great job. Let's go over your answers. So for A, you should have gotten 5 times 2, which should give you 10. So 5 and 2 are factors of 10. We know that 8 times 10 will give us 80. That tells us that 8 and 10 are factors of 80. And we also know that 10 times 23 will give us 230. So that tells us the numbers 10 and 23 are both factors of 230. We learned yesterday that we can also prove these factors by skip counting. So for example, if you skip count by 5s from 0, you're going to reach 10. In the same way that if you counted by 8s from 0, you're going to reach 80. And in the same way for C, if you counted by 10s from 0, you're going to reach 230. So those are all strategies for finding factors. On your whiteboard, I want you to try these exercises. So write a multiplication equation that shows A, 1 is a factor of 2, B, 1 is a factor of 15, and C, 1 is a factor of 43. When you are done, you're going to continue on with your screencast. So by completing those equations on your whiteboard, I'm now going to ask you the question, what numbers is 1 a factor of? So your answer should be all of them. 1 is a factor of every single whole number. So if we count by 1s, this shows that 1 is a factor of every number, because when we're counting by 1s, we count every single number. So let's find the factors of 10. So using this chart that I have on the screen here, is 0 a factor of 10? No, because we can't multiply 0 by anything to get to 10. 0 times whatever whole number is going to always be 0. So 0 is not a factor of 10. We know that 1 times 10 is going to equal 10. We know that 2 times 5 is going to equal 10. But can we do 3 times something to get to 10? The answer is no, we cannot. If we skip count by 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, those are all our skip counting. So did we find all of the factors of 10 just by going up to here? The answer is yes, because by checking the numbers in order instead of randomly, you can be sure that you didn't miss any. So can any number greater than 10 be a factor of 10? Can I do 12 times something to get to 10? No, you're already past the number you're trying to get to. So because we jumped right over 10 when we skip counted by any number, then you can't get to the factor. But we can see here that all the factors of 10, we always start with the smallest one. So we have 0, 2, 5, and 10, which will all be considered factors of 10. So now I want you to think about these numbers. So you're going to find all of the factors for 12, 14, and 15, thinking in terms of multiplication. So what numbers can you multiply to each other to get to these numbers? When you're done finding all the factors of the number 12, I want you to resume your screencast. So when you're trying to find all of the factors of a number, except for the number itself, they seem to be quite a bit smaller than the number. So I wonder if a number that is more than half of 18, other than 18 itself, will be a factor of 18. So let's try skip counting by 10, 11, 12, and 13 first, because we know half of 18 is 9. So let's skip count by 10. So we have 0, 10, 20, 30. Well, no, we're already past the number 18 that we're trying to get to, so that doesn't work. Let's try 11. So we have 0, 11, 22. No, we're already past 18, the number we're trying to get to. So 11 doesn't work. Let's try 12. We have 0, 12, 24. Nope, already past 18. And now let's try 13, which would be 0, 13, and 26. 13 doesn't work either. So we always pass 18 really quickly. Why is that? Because when a number is more than 9, so double the number would be more than 18. So let's do another exercise on our whiteboards. We're going to find all the factors of 18 by checking only the numbers from 1 to 9. So for example, start with 0 times what to get to 9? Is there anything? No. Check the next one. 1 times what gives you, 1 times what gives you 9? Then move on to 2. I want you to check all of those up to the number 9. So from the list that we just made, we can see that factors of a number always come in pairs. So if we look at this example here, 3 times 4, we see that 3 and 4 are a factor pair for number 12. So what would be another factor pair for the number 12? We also know that 2 and 6 could be considered a factor pair because 2 times 6 equals 12. And we also know that 1 and 12 could be considered a factor pair because 1 times 12 will give us 12. So once we know that 3 times 4 equals 12, we also know that 4 times 3 equals 12. We don't need to list out both of those pairs because they're the same pair of numbers, they're just written in a different order. So let's look at this chart that I have here, and we're going to copy. You don't need to copy the chart, I just want you to watch the screen for now. So we're going to look at the factors of 24. So let's think of, we're going to put X's in all the rows where the first number is not a factor of 24. So if we have 1, what can we multiply by to get to 24? Well, we can multiply 1 times 24 to get to 24. 2 times what is going to give us 24? 2 times 12 is. We also know that 3 times 8 will give us 24, and we know that 4 times 6 will give us 24. Is it possible to multiply 5 times something to get to 24? No, so we're going to, for now, just put a big X in this column. We've already seen that 4 times 6 equals 24, so we automatically know it's the opposite, so 6 times 4. 7 times nothing can get us to 24. That one doesn't work, we're going to put it as an X. We already found above that 3 times 8 gives us 24, so now we can just reverse that pair, so 8 times 3. 9, we can't get to 24. 9 times something will not ever give us 24. If we think of 10, we can't multiply 10 by anything to get to 24, neither 11. But we can, if we look up above back at 2, 2 times 12 gave us 24, so we know that 12 times 2 will give us 24, and 24 times 1 can give us that. So we have just found all of the factors of 24. You'll notice that the top of the chart, you'll notice that right here where we have halfway, it starts repeating itself. So you'll notice that these are always going to be opposites. They're pairs. You'll notice that this is opposite because it's a pair. You'll notice that 2 times, my screen's not big enough, 12 is an opposite. It's a pair. Okay, so how did we know to stop our chart here at the number 12? Well, we know that because 12 is half of 24. We don't need to check any further. We don't need to check 13 or 14 or 15 because we know there's nothing to multiply that by 24. So charts are another great strategy for checking to find the factors of 24. So we know based on this chart that 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, and 12 are all factors of 24. You're now going to complete your assignment for this lesson. It is in your workbook, page numbers 125 to 126, and you are completing all questions. When you are done, you're going to check in with the teacher.